We talked about the tourist trade or the tourist industry. Najat, do you have, are you using the phone on speaker?
No, wait a minute.
Is it on the speaker?
Yes, yes.
Okay, can you use an earphone? Because I can hear my voice. I can hear an echo. Do you have an earphone with you?
Yes.
Are you using an earphone now?
Yes.
Ah, okay, great. That's good.
No, it's okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, it's a lot better, yeah. Wa alaikum salam. Hi, Sana.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm all right.
Hi, Sana.
Hi,
How are you?
how are you? Fine, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So I think everyone is here. We can go on and start. So a quick revision from our last lesson. So in our last lesson, this is the one before last. Let's talk a little bit about the one before last very quickly. Okay, I still can hear my, I don't know what's wrong, Najat. I can still hear my voice.
Like your voice, like in the curve.
Like?
In the curve.
In the care?
كيف في صدى قوي
يا ممكن لما يبدأ حد فتح سبيكر يطلع صدى. نعرفش لو انكم تستعملوا في السبيكر غيروا على الايرفون احسن، لان السبيكر شو بيصير بيطلع صوتي بيرجع صوتي للمايك ويبدا زي اللوب هيك يدير في نوع من الازعاج. So it's better to always use an earphone. حتى الصوت ما يرجع للمايك مرة ثانية. Is it on? Are you using an earphone now, Najat?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now it's a little better now. So very quickly, let's review this lesson. Of course, we talked about giving advice, responding to advice, showing concern, showing care, and we practiced this. And we listened to two problems. It's actually one problem. It's a very common problem. So we finished this lesson, the one about Rebecca having problems with her husband, and then of course Charlie, he was talking about Rebecca and some of the problems they were having. We also listened to this part, the one about intonation. So you should sound friendly, you should sound nice, you should sound like you care. If you want to sound concerned, you should sound, your intonation should seem honest and sincere. So we did this, and we finished the two conversations. We did this together also. We talked a little bit about strong forms, weak forms. We talked about the importance of using strong forms at the end of the sentence, like for here, which company do you work for? Where do you want to fly to? About 3 weeks if I can. I'll see what I can do for you. These are strong forms because they come at the end of the sentence, so they're strong. But otherwise, it's usually weak form. And then we started with this part. We started with this lesson, which is the tourist trade or the tourist industry. We learned a few new phrasal verbs, I think, like set off, which means to start your trip or to start your journey. We also talked about get around, which is basically moving around in the same city when you travel, of course. Deal with, we talked about the difference between deal with and put up with. We agreed that deal with means you can change the situation, you can fix the problem. But when you put up with a bad situation, it means you really can't do anything about it. It's not in your control. You just have to tolerate it. You have to be patient. You have to put up with it until it's over. So there's a bit of a difference between deal with and put up with. We also talked about the new one, the new phrasal verb, see you off. So this happens when somebody maybe drops you at the airport or in a train station and they say, bye-bye, have a good trip. This is called seeing off. Means they want to say goodbye to you until you come back. Look after is clear, looking forward. We also talked a little bit about it, and we agreed that if you want to use this phrase, you have to use a noun, or you have to use ing after it, verb plus ing. So you can say, I'm looking forward to traveling. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to starting this job. I'm looking forward to learning about this lesson. So if you want to use looking forward, you have to use verb plus ing after it. Or noun, like here, holiday. Holiday is a noun, so you can use a noun. So we finished this. We also did the listening, and we heard the story of Megan, the tour guide, and also Clive, the hotel manager. So we heard their stories, and we answered only the first part of the question. Do they like their jobs? And what problems do they have in their jobs? So we did this. But now I want you to take a look at part B of this question, where it compares who said these sentences. So this is where we start today. And I want you to take a look before we listen. So just read them quickly. When you're ready, just tell me that you're ready, and I can play the CD for you to check, okay? So read these first. If you can guess, make a guess too, because I think it's not a very hard question. They just want you to say who said these sentences. Was it Megan, the tour guide, or was it Clive, the hotel manager? All right? So take a look at these, and after that we can listen. I'll go get the track ready.
Can I answer the questions? Or
Yes, you
listen
can.
first?
No, you can guess, you can answer them. I think you can answer them without really listening, in my opinion, but
Yeah.
And we'll just use the listening to confirm, okay? But let me just prepare it, and then you can answer. Where is it? Audio, here it is. So we want CD1 track 19. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so let's see the answers. Okay, tell us, Hajar, what you think are the right answers. So let's take a look. So number one, who do you think said this?
Megan.
Okay, so let's write M or C in front of each question. So you think Megan said this, so M. Okay, next one, who do you think said this?
Clive, isn't it?
Clive.
His name, Clive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Clive.
Okay.
Clive. Megan.
Okay.
Megan.
Okay.
Clive.
Mm-hmm.
Megan.
All right.
And Clive.
Okay. Let's listen and let's see how many of these are right. So let's confirm these answers. Here we are. Let's listen.
Track 19.
I'm a guide for a company that organizes hiking tours in the Rocky Mountains in Canada. I'm actually American, not Canadian, but I've lived in this country for about 3 years, and I really love working here. I've worked in the USA and in Europe, and I really enjoyed my time there too, but for me, there's nowhere like the Canadian Rockies. A lot of our customers have been hiking before, but when they get back to the hotel, they often say it's the best experience they've ever had, which is very satisfying. It's not always an easy job. You have to deal with difficult weather conditions, and sometimes it can be quite dangerous. Also, I have to put up with a few people who do stupid things. For example, 3 days ago, a guy set off on his own into the mountains without telling anyone. He got lost, then fell and broke his leg. Luckily, he had GPS on his phone and we were able to rescue him. Actually, I've just been to Banff to pick him up from the hospital. He can't do any more hiking, of course, but at least he'll have a good story to tell his friends when he gets back home.
My wife and I started working in the hotel industry 19 years ago, but this is the first time we've run a hotel in a touristy place like the Lake District. We've had this place since 2008, and I'm a bit fed up with it, to be honest. Running a tourist hotel is quite stressful, particularly when people complain about things. It can be difficult for tourists to get around in the summer because of all the cars, but I don't know why they complain to me about it. Also, some people think they can check in and out whenever they want. We have to clean the rooms, of course, so if guests don't check out on time, it makes life very difficult for us. Another problem is that one of us always has to be here. For example, my wife's gone to see some friends off at Manchester Airport, so I have to stay and look after the hotel. And because we're open all year, it's difficult for us to have a holiday together. We've been away a few times, but each time there was a problem at the hotel, so we had to come back early. But this December, we're closing the hotel and going to South America. We're really looking forward to it.
So how many of these were correct? What do you think?
All of them.
Them correct.
Correct. All of them are actually correct, yeah. Okay, so we answered this part. Now, I'm not sure if you can put them in order, but can you put them in order, in the same order you heard them?
The first one is I have lived in this country for about 3 years.
Okay. What do you think, Sana, about the next one? Number 2.
I have worked in the USA and in Europe, and I really enjoyed.
Okay. Najat, what do you think the third, if we want to put them in the right order, what do you think the third one is?
I don't know, sir. Actually.
Are you sleeping tonight too? Are you sleeping?
Shattered.
You're what?
Shattered.
Shattered. You're shattered. Okay.
بالعافية. أسمعكم.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So you can give us moral support, just معنويات يعني, but not real help, just moral support. Okay, maybe Malak can answer this one. Malak, what about the third one? What do you think?
Maybe 3 days ago, a guy set off on his phone. Number D.
Okay, all right. And what about number 4? What do you think the fourth one is? You can guess.
I have just been to Banff to pick him up.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the next part of the story? What do you think it is?
Doctor, I think 2 stories.
Yeah, 2 stories. Yeah, you're right. One of them about Megan and the other one is about Clive. But our job in question C here, number 2C, we just want to put it in the order that we heard it. That's all. The events in the same order that we heard them. Yeah. This is all they want us to do. This means if you can't find any details related to the first order, the first story, this means maybe the second story has started, right?
Yeah, it's the second story.
Okay, so what's the first thing in the second story? The first thing that Clive talked about?
Maybe
number C.
B. No, not B.
If maybe. We have had this
my wife
breeze
and
since
I
2000.
started.
No, no, not this one. Not F.
F. Not
Not
F.
F.
Not F. No.
This meaning C. My wife and I started
C. Yeah.
in the
C.
hotel industry.
Then F. Yeah.
Yes, I said C. My
Yeah,
wife.
Malak. Yeah,
started.
Malak said that. Yeah.
Don't fight, girls. Don't fight. Everybody will
No,
get a
not
chance.
fight. Just
We are not
discussions.
fighting.
Just discussion. We are friends. Okay.
No, because this is a democratic class. We don't want people fighting.
Yeah.
Why
This is-
let
this is-
us fighting? We are just discussion.
This is a class of love and peace. No fighting. here.
I think you
Yeah.
you are like girls fighting maybe.
Maybe I do, yeah. But the good thing about online fighting is everyone is far away, so
No. We are friends.
that's good. and you're saying it very aggressively. We are friends. The intonation doesn't match the words. Yeah, but I agree. I think this is the right answer. And part C, I think this is the right one in the second story. The first, because that's how he started. He gave a sort of background information about his experience in the hotel industry. And then after that, he talked about the specific place they have now, right? We've had this place. I think F is the next one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this is number 6. What about number 7?
Maybe H. My wife is going to see.
No.
I think.
We've been a few times. We've been away.
B. We have been away.
But in the end, I don't know if you
No,
remember.
at the end they said that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think my wife is going to see something.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the next one. This is 7, because after he said we've been away for a few times, he said this time. Can you remember what he said at the end?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He doesn't like the job anymore, I think, or something.
But he spoke about something specific.
Yeah, because they didn't have a holiday with
Yes, they haven't
anymore.
they haven't had a holiday for a long time.
Yeah.
But he said something about December, and he said that he'll do something.
Yeah, they will close.
Close
and they have a holiday.
Where? He said where? Can you remember where?
No.
Maybe Malak, did you hear where he said he'll go? Did you hear it? Because he named a place. He said this December we're closing the hotel and we're going to, and then he said the place. Okay, no problem. If you didn't hear it, it's not a problem. All right, so we organize them, or we put them in the right order, the same order we heard them. So this means we can move to the next question. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about grammar. So present perfect simple, okay? So hello, hi, Ihab. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm okay. Okay, so now in number 3 here, in part 3, we'll talk a little bit about the present perfect simple. And here we want to, in a way, compare it to the past simple, okay? We want to know the main differences, or how can we use it, or when should we use the present perfect, and when should we use the past simple. This is, I think, the main focus of this exercise. So it says here, complete the rules. So we have 4 rules. You can see the 4 tips here, or the 4 points. These are 4 rules. our job is to decide if this rule matches present perfect or matches past simple. And of course, after we do that, we need to find a sentence from the story, from the two stories. I mean, from number 2B, from the previous exercise, which match each rule. So let me change the page display so you can see both pages together. Let me zoom a little bit. So what we're gonna do is, first of all, okay, let's take it slowly. So first thing, let's read the 4 rules. I want you to read the 4 rules and come to a decision or some kind of agreement on what to use here. Should we use present perfect? Should we use past simple? So take a minute, read these 4 rules, and then tell me what to use. Okay, now, yeah, can you start with the first rule? Can you read it?
But I don't know this about this complete sentence.
But you can make a guess. Tell us what you think. You don't have to know it. You can make a guess.
Just like what?
Here, what you need to do, if you check the question says, look at sentences 2B. So
Yeah.
the part that we were talking about here, can you see 2B, these sentences?
Yes.
So the one like, I've worked in the USA and in Europe, and I really enjoyed my time. My time there too. We've been away, blah, blah, blah. So this part that we were talking about, and we were putting them in the same order because all of these parts are from the listening. So they just want you to take a look there. And after that, you need to complete the rules. So we have 4 rules, and these 4 rules are related to the past simple and the present perfect. So the first point, it says we use it means one of them, either the present perfect simple or the past simple. These are the only 2 options you have to complete the gaps. Do you get the idea? So you need to decide, is this past simple? Is this past simple? Is this? Which rule talks about the past simple? And which one do you think talks about the present perfect simple? This is the point of the exercise. So here, can you read the first rule? What does it say? We use. Okay, we use something for.
You mean choose about present simple and past present perfect and past simple?
Yes,
like that.
One of them, yeah.
Sometime before now, but we don't know. Past simple. بس انا ما قدرتش اجيب مكان اصلا. يا انا عارف هو البريزنت بيرفكت، يعني حاجه يعني صارت في الماضي ولها علاقه بوقت الحاضر، لكن
not always. مش شرط. هذه أحد استخداماتها. But there are other ways to use it. في عندها استخدامات تانية. Okay, you can leave number 1. What about number 2? Can you try with number 2? Which one do we use to say when something happened? Which one? Is it the past simple or is it the present perfect? Which one do you think? To say when something happened, to give the exact
حدث. هني باست سمبل. هذه باست سمبل.
correct. Here it's the past simple. Because if you say when something happened, you need the past simple, right? And if you look at the examples here, so for example, look here. Here. Can you check this? My wife and I started, right? 19 years ago. So we have a specific point here. So we say when. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is, the second rule is the past simple. What about the first one, Sana? What do you think?
Present perfect simple.
Okay, so you think that we use present perfect simple to talk about experiences?
Yes.
All right, and to give more information about an experience, what do we use?
Yes, even present perfect simple.
Okay, who agrees with Sana and who disagrees maybe with Sana?
Yes, I think present perfect sentences we use for experience
Okay,
and happened
right.
sometime
No.
before now.
Mm.
Oh, yes, present perfect.
And for example, if we want to give more information, what do we use? Do we also use the present perfect simple?
No, we use past simple.
But
Yeah.
We talk about something that happened.
right.
لا بس مازال في وقت الكلام يا وقت الكلام معناه نستخدموا البريزنت بيرفكت اعتقد يعني. لا مازال في معلومات اخرى وصلت يعني من حدث يعني في الماضي ومستمر لعند تو هذا البريزنت بيرفكت اعتقد.
اوكي لكن هو تو ما دواش عليه نقطة ان حاجة صايرة ومستمرة.
The third one that he mentioned that point.
انت اللي تحكي عليه is in the third point you have. But here in the first point we're still talking about the experience.
Understand.
Yeah, so we agreed that the experience happened in the past, okay? It happened
yes, past simple, the second. We use the past simple.
Yeah, because if you want to give specific details, if you want to give details, we have to change to the past simple. This is the point.
Yes.
Okay. So we use the past simple. Now, the third point, this is what Ihab was talking about, something that started in the past and continues in the present. So what should we use here?
Present perfect
simple.
Right. We need to use the present perfect simple. Now, we use something. We use the something to say for something that happened a short time ago, but we don't say exactly when.
Yes, past simple.
Present perfect simple.
Perfect.
Past simple.
What do you think?
Simple, yes. I think past simple.
Exactly.
Present perfect simple.
But number 2, we said we use the past simple to say when something happened. And now you're saying we don't use it? Now you're saying we use it when we don't know?
No, present perfect simple.
Present perfect, yes.
Present simple. Present perfect.
Yes.
هي واحدة منهم يا عيسى يا موسى ما فيش ثالث.
But present
perfect
perfect, we
simple.
can use the time with happen, but when we don't know about exactly any time, just past simple, I think. I don't know, but
I think short time ago. That's
we don't say
know.
exactly when. This is about time.
Okay,
So-
look at this example you have. For example, if I say, I've just arrived from work. I've just arrived from work. Okay? I've just arrived from work. Do you know when? Did I tell you when I arrived? When I say I've just arrived from work. Okay, let me write it. So if I say I've just arrived from work, let's put it here. This is I've just arrived from work.
Arrive at home.
I've just arrived home. Maybe easier. I've just arrived home. Okay. When did this happen? Did I say when exactly? Did I tell you when?
No.
Is it in the present? Is it in the past? When did I arrive home?
We don't know.
We don't know exactly when because I didn't say, and I can't say. لو أنا استعملت هذه الطريقة I've just arrived home, I can't tell you when. ممنوع علي استعمال الزمن. ممنوع نقول لك وصلت أمتى. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
But is it a short time ago? Did I arrive at home a short time ago, or did I arrive at home a long time ago? What do you think?
A short time, yeah.
Outside.
A short time. We know it's a short time, but we don't know when. But if I say, for example, مثلا لو اللي معاي قصقاص شوية, the first thing he will say, when did you arrive? When did you arrive? So this person is very curious. He's Libyan and he's not satisfied with I've just arrived. بيعرف أنت بالضبط. So here you can notice that the question, what did he do?
10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The question, he wants more information, right? About my experience. So he changed to what? To the past simple. Because you can't ask detailed questions about time using the present perfect. You can't. So here I also have to use the past simple now. I will say, I arrived 5 minutes ago. So what happened here? How did I start my point or my conversation, and how did I end it?
Ended with past simple.
But how did I start it?
Started the present perfect.
Right? Do you see the idea? So I've just arrived home. We know it's recent. يعني كان بالليبي كأنك نقول كيف وصلت؟ كيف وصلت؟ حتى بالليبي لاحظوا ما نقولوش في الوقت. كيف وصلت؟ Right? كيف وصلت للحوش? This is the idea. So this is another way of using the present perfect. It's very common. We use it to talk about things that have just happened. So things which are recent, right? Recent past. So if you want to talk about the recent past, حاجة كيف صارت, it's better to use the present perfect. And you don't say when exactly. Because if you want to say when exactly, بنضطر نغيره للpast simple.
I wanna ask.
I have.
We can't use this about present perfect about with time.
No.
But I have a question. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You say present perfect in short time, okay?
Okay.
But there is a point. We use the present perfect for something that started in the past and continues in the present. It's a long time, maybe.
Yes, هذا استعمال ثاني. هو الفكرة كلها في الexercise إنه يوري فيك عدة أوجه, different ways of
يعني
using the
قصدك
present
مش
perfect.
ديما. yes yes
Yeah, we don't have ما عندناش طريقة واحدة، عندنا
هذا علاش
أكثر من طريقة.
تلخبطنا.
هو فكرة كل الإكسرسايز بيعرفكم أن راهو ال present perfect أعمق من الطريقة اللي احنا متعودين عليها، ممكن من ال pre-intermediate. يعني أن pre-intermediate كان limited شوية ال present perfect، مش عاطينا بهالبا يعني طرق، لكن هنا بيوسعونا يعني فكرة ال present perfect. Do you get the idea I have?
Yes, high perspective. This.
انتوا اللي كنتوا تعرفوها على طول جاوبتها. لاحظوا نفسكم اللي هي النقطة الثالثة كلكم تعرفوها، لأن أنا دي من الاليمنتري متكلمين عليها متكررة. So something that started and still continues. هذه ممكن أشهر استعمال لل present perfect. Okay. متاع الاكسبيرينسز هذه كانت في البري intermediate، أغلبكم يعرفها جاوبتها. لكن الجديد نوعا ما اللي هم the last one اللي هي something that happened a short time ago but we don't say when. This is maybe a bit new. And also مركزين لكم على past simple and النقطة number 2 and number 4 actually are opposites if you think of it. Because number 2, the past simple, we usually say when. We usually say when. So for example, you can say I graduated 2 years ago. I started my new job last week. I met my cousin yesterday, right? So with the past simple, we usually say when we did the action. There's always some kind of time phrase, time word. But with the present perfect, you don't usually say when. Normally, you don't say when. You can't say when. Unless الحالة الوحيدة اللي تقدر تقولوا أمتى لو استعملتوا present perfect بالكيفية اللي هي رقم 3 اللي هي مثلا I've been a teacher for 10 years, or I've been a teacher since 2010, for example. Do you get the idea? I've been present perfect, and then I say when this action started, and it still continues till today, right? Or for example, if you have a car, you can say, I've had this car since 1995. I've had this car. I have had. This is present perfect. So since 1995 until today, you still own this car, right? هذو كلهم استعمالات اللي هي رقم 3. Something that started in the past and it still continues to the present. Now, let's make these rules easier. We can do this by finding examples of each rule from number 2b. So let's start with the first rule, okay? So we agreed that we use the present perfect for experiences that happened sometime before now, but we don't know when, or maybe we don't say when. And if we want to give more experience, we want to give more information about this experience, we have to change, we have to shift to the past simple. So let me take you to the examples in 2b. هذول اللي حنطبقوا عليهم القاعدة. Because each example, كل مثال منهم يعني يمشي مع أحد rules, one of the 4 rules, okay? Now let's start with A. And then I'm going to read it for you. And you tell me which rule do you think is the best match for A, okay? So I've worked in the USA and in Europe, and I really enjoyed my time there.
Yes.
So first of all, what is this? Is it past simple or is it present perfect? Let's decide.
Present perfect.
Present perfect.
Present perfect.
Experience.
present perfect with a second.
Very good answer, Najat. You're not sleeping. You're with us.
Because I hadn't this tense before.
Yeah. You mean it's new?
Yes.
Yeah, actually this one is very useful. It's not hard and مفيد جدا الطريقة هذه انك لما تتكلم بشكل عام على خبرتك ولو بتعطي تفاصيل معينة then you can change to the past simple. فيستعملوا فيه مرات مع بعض. The present perfect and the past simple are kind of like a bit like cousins. They sometimes use them together. There's a strong relationship between them. زي لو تتذكروا في present في pre-intermediate when we talked about the past continuous and the past simple. حتى كان في close relationship. Do you remember the long action with the past continuous and the short action with the past simple, right? So you can say, for example, while it was raining, I saw my cousin, right? So the long action, raining, while it was raining, this is past continuous. I saw my cousin, past simple. So past simple in the middle of past continuous. So there are some grammatical tenses which are kind of related to the others. They're used together usually. Past simple and present perfect is one of them. This is the idea. So A, this example, it's a nice example. So which rule talks about this in your opinion? Which one?
Experience, about experience.
Yeah, exactly. The first rule, right?
Yeah.
So this means if we want to choose which example, we can write A. One of them is A. So let's put A here. Okay, now let's take a look at B and let's see what kind of rule it follows. So we've been away a few times, but each time there was a problem at the hotel.
Also, it is a present perfect simple.
Short
Yeah.
time, present perfect about
Yeah.
short time.
What do you think?
Two tenses, present perfect and past simple. Yes, the same
past
thing.
So is it
The
the
first
same?
part is
Is it the same as?
present perfect.
Is it the same as A or is it different from A?
A little
The
bit
same
different.
Different.
different about
Different
present
about
perfect.
the rules.
You think it's a different rule?
Yeah.
Not a different rule.
Let me take you to the rules again. And tell me if this rule, if B, sorry, is like the first rule, the second, the third, or the fourth.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Okay, let me put the answers again to help a little bit.
When we use maybe
Because
I think we use something happened a short time ago. The
Okay.
fourth rule.
But in the fourth rule, we don't have past simple with it.
past simple, yeah.
Because if you take a look at example B, it's a mix of two tenses.
Yes.
Do you get the idea? It's not only the present perfect. We also have the past simple. يعني A and B.
Yes.
Number one.
Yeah, if you think of it,
see.
look, they're almost the same, exactly the same. We start with the present perfect to give general information, experience about something, and then I give you more detail about it. So if you take a look, it's exactly the same. So in the beginning here, Clive, in example B, what did he say? He said, we've been away a few times. Okay, it means he's talking about himself and his wife, right? So we've been away a few times on holiday. He was talking about holidays. Here, he doesn't tell us where he went. He doesn't tell us when he went. So this is typical present perfect. Present perfect ديما ما يعطيكش معلومات بالضبط ما يعطيكش. They just tell you something generally. They tell you about something generally. They never give you details. But here, because he wants to give us a little bit of details, he had to change to the past simple, right? Each time there was a problem at the hotel. So now he's giving us a little detail.
Information.
Some information, extra information. So this means A and B are actually the first rule. I think this is the best, if we think of it, this is the best match. Right, so let's put B here with A. Now let's take a look at C. Now let's read C. So it says here, my wife and I have been Where is it? My wife and
No.
I started working in the hotel industry 19 years ago.
Past simple.
Past simple.
Past
Yeah.
simple.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just the past simple. He didn't
Yeah.
use anything in this example.
Mhm.
Yes.
So let's find the rule where we only need to use the past simple to say when something happened exactly. So which rule
The
is
second
this?
rule.
Right.
Second rule. Yes.
Right, exactly. So again, this is typical, normal, past simple. Very nice. Let's take a look at example D and let's see what happened in example D. So example D, it says 3 days ago, a guy set off on his own into the mountains without telling anyone where he was going. So what tense is this? And let me give you a hint. Let me
3
give you a
days ago.
hint.
Past simple.
Past simple.
Yeah.
And what's this?
3 days ago.
3 days ago.
time.
I'm
Yes.
telling you exactly when this
Exactly
happened.
one.
Exactly when. So you know when this happened. I'm not speaking generally. I'm not talking about experience. I'm talking about a specific event in the past. And I'm even telling you where, right? So this is how past simple is used. So in example D, which do you think is the best rule to use for example D in your opinion?
The
Which one?
second rule.
Second rule.
Yes, right. The second rule is the right one. So this means C and D are in the second rule. Let's move this. Page is moving all around. Okay, so D is here. Now let's take a look at E, example E. Let's see what they used in example E. So in example E, Megan said, I've lived in this country for about 3 years. What did she use here?
Present perfect, but
Correct.
started in the past and continues in the present.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because she gave us the starting point of this action, which is living. She told us exactly when she started living, and she still lives there, right?
Yes.
So this means if we had to choose one of the 4 rules, which one should we use?
Number 3.
Right.
The
Yeah,
third
right.
one.
The third one. So the third one, this is the one we need. It talks about something that started in the past. So I've been living there, or she's been living there for 3 years. It means she started 3 years ago and she's still living there until now, till the present moment. All right, nice. Let's take a look at F. F says, we've had this place since 2008. Is it the same as E?
Yeah.
Exactly the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea. We've had this place since 2008. So the starting point of this action, which is having, or the possession of the hotel, the starting point was 2008. And this is still true today. So it's going on, it's still going on. Oops. All right, so let's go back and let's mark this as the third rule. So E and F. I think it's a lot easier with the examples, right? When you have examples, you know, it kind of makes sense. It's not confusing anymore.
Become clear.
Yeah, it becomes clear, exactly. All right, now our last 2 examples, G and H. It says, I've just been to Banff to pick him up from the hospital.
It's present perfect.
Present perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Is it long?
No, a short time.
Exactly when.
Something happens at the past and still at the present.
For true.
No. I think the 4th rule.
The 4th rule.
Yes.
Is it the 4th or is it the 3rd?
4th rule.
4th rule.
Yeah. because something that
Yes,
happened.
something happened at the past
We
and
don't say
continues in
exactly
the
when.
present.
Why do you think it continues to the present?
Mhm.
No, not.
Let's take a look at the example again.
I've just, because just.
Yeah.
Is she still in Banff?
No,
No, because they pick him
because
up
Ben.
So
from the hospital.
is this still continuing to the present? Is she still picking him up now?
No, maybe short time.
That's it. You're right.
Mhm.
So actually, this sounds a lot like the last rule, right? So this is,
Yes.
we call this the recent past. The recent past. So this is the past, but يعني ديما نحب نشبهها بالليبي يعني كيف مشت، كيف طلع، كيف جاء، كيف كملت. You know, so this is the idea when you say كيف whatever. This is the idea.
استنى شوي خلينا نعدل الواحد. ذا
H.
استنى.
Okay, now let's take a look at the last example. Oh, sorry, this is G. But let's see H because it's probably the same. My wife's gone to see some friends off at Manchester Airport. So what about this one? My wife's gone. First of all, what is it? Is it present perfect or is it past simple?
Present perfect.
Right.
Present.
Because my wife has gone. So present perfect, has gone. Now, which kind of rule is this? What kind of present
It's
perfect?
the fourth rule.
The fourth
Because,
rule.
we don't say exactly when.
Yes.
Exactly when.
But we can understand that it's, or I have a question. How do we know it's a
also
short time ago?
But
how do we know? How do we know it's a short time ago? Because with the first example, the one before it, we have the word just, okay? So just been, this clearly indicates it's something that that happened a short time ago, just, right? It's fresh. It's fresh. It's just it has just happened. But example H, we don't have just. How do we know this is not?
We have gone.
We have
she is
gone.
still at the airport.
Yes. Not come
Okay.
back.
And what does gone mean?
Yeah, doesn't came back again.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So she went and she's not back yet. Right? So this means this is something that happened a short time ago. This is recent past. So this means the fourth rule is the correct one. Okay? So these are just different ways of using the present perfect and the past simple. So you need to keep in mind that the present perfect doesn't always have to be like number 3 here, something that started in the past and continues. It doesn't have to be like this. You can use it, of course, like this, but you can use it in other ways as well. Yes, you have?
Like this is a grammar so hard because I always reading and read about this grammar, but I forget always, because maybe I don't practice with another one. But really, this so forget about if when I use that. This about this grammar, present perfect, past perfect, present simple.
Yes, you're right, because do you know the main difference between elementary and intermediate? Because present perfect لعلمك موجود حتى في elementary. حتى elementary يقروا في present perfect. But this is the idea. With each level they expand, right? يعني القصة مش في الأشياء الجديدة، نفس الشيء. يعني أنت تصور في الupper intermediate عندك present simple مثلا، تقول present simple مش قارينا في البيجنر مرة واحدة إيش نجيبه في الupper intermediate، بس موجود. لأنه بيعطيهولك في طرق متوسعة أكثر. This is the idea. Each time they give you.
تنسى تنسى، ما تتذكرهاش يعني، مهما تدير مهما تقراها ومهما تنسى ومستحيل تستعملها يعني.
Yeah. Now, okay, عندي لك سؤال. I have a good question for you. علاش مثلا why did they give us these examples وعطونا هالقصة الطويلة العريضة هذه اللي هي متاع ميغان وكلايف ومش عارف الهوتيل و all this information? Why did they give us all this information before they gave us the rule and not the opposite way? Why didn't they start with the rule? Why do you think?
Because the rule make it more complicated.
Good point. The rule makes it more complicated, especially if you don't have context. لو أنت ما عندكش سياق للرول حتنسى، أكيد حتنسى. هذه ما عندكش فيها شك نهائي. يعني كلامك صح. أكيد لو أنت بتركز على الرول، لو أنت مثلا تو في بالك بتركز مثلا على exercise 3 فقط، هذا غدوة حتى جاء من تسير خدها مني أنا، مش حيبعد لك إلا غدوة.
أنا متأكدة لو أن يجيبوا لك ورقة فيها جرامر حتحلها من غير ما تدرس.
Yes, that's it.
Because I studied English language at college, and I didn't read the rules at all.
كيف النحو بالعربي؟
Yeah, but all the times we have good
grades, good marks.
Grade, yeah.
Yes, because هذه لها علاقة بحاجة يسموها فيها context، سياق. هذا في الكتب الحديثة كلها وحتى في طرق التدريس الحديثة يمنع منعا باتا البدء بالقاعدة، ممنوع منعا باتا في التدريس الحديث عمرك ما تبدأ بالقاعدة. هذا حتى ملاحظة عليكم اللي عنده مثلا صغار أخته صغار أخوه حد بيقري، عمرك ما تعطوا القاعدة من غير سياق. لو بتعطوا قاعدة دائما أعطوها بمثال. مثلا لو مثلا حد بيشرح لي طفل present simple، ديروا قصة مثلا على أحمد وسارة. أحمد goes to school at 5 o'clock. Sarah goes to school at 8 o'clock. He likes football. يعني يبدأ الطفل مركز في سارة وفي أحمد شو يديروا شو ما يديروش. And if you ask a question and if you say when does Ahmed go to school، حتلاحظ الطفل حيجاوب he goes to school at 8 o'clock. حتى لو ما عمره قرأ present simple ولا يعرف شنو هو أصلا present simple بكرة. Do you get the idea? Because context السياق هذا حيعلم الحاجة من غير حاجة ما فيش داعي للرول تعطيك رول نظري كرياضيات يعني. Do you get the idea? But because this is an intermediate level, so it's a bit high, it's important also to know how to use it. يعني هذا زي جانب نظري theory يعني أكثر منه عملي. بس العملي اللي هو في الأمثلة الحقيقية هذه. The examples from Clive and Megan. And this brings me to my last point, which is the workbook. That's why the workbook is super important. You know why? Because ميزة الworkbook ما فيش القصة البايخة المملة هذه بتاع rules ومش عارف put it. You just do the exercises, right? And if you answer them correctly, that's great. If you make mistakes, that's even better. Because when you make a mistake, you go to the key answer at the back of the book and you check, okay, so this is blah, blah, not blah, blah. And then you remember it.
Also, you can more practice by doing the quiz at Google. You find some quizzes, and they will check your answers correct or not. So it's more easier.
Yeah, that's correct. There are tons.
It's more helpful.
There are tons of teaching websites and learning websites, and lots of them have automatic tests where you can take the test and they can show you, and the test is sometimes a revision for a specific rule. So this is easily available. But even if you're lazy and even if you don't want to go to Google, you know, just take a look at your workbook. You will have exercises which show or explain the rule, just like exercise this one, the one we have in number 6. The one here on the right side. Well, when we get there, here in exercise 6, it's a mix of all 4 rules. So actually, to answer exercise 6 correctly, you need to use the rules that we talked about in number 3, and you need to do them in an automatic way. So before you put was or were, you think to yourself, what kind of situation is this? Is this recent past? Is this something that started and is it still continuing now? Or this is past simple because we know exactly when, so on. So you start talking to yourself using the rule. So this is how you should remember the rule when doing the exercise, but never think of the rule on its own. There's no point, you won't remember it. All right, so this is number 3A. So we kind of covered how to use the present perfect and how to use the past simple and the relationship between them. Now it says here, how do we make positive sentences and negatives and questions in the present perfect? So this is a kind of straightforward grammar question about form. So let's look at the examples and let's change them into questions. So for example, I've worked in the USA in Europe. So if we want to make this into a question, what's the question?
Have you worked in the USA and in Europe?
Correct. This is a yes/no question. Very good. Have you worked in the USA and Europe? Have you worked in the USA and Europe? This is a question. Good. Who can make another question? But this time WH question, not yes/no question.
Where have you worked?
That's it. Where have you worked? So I'm just going to write your questions here. So we just made very quickly and easily just 2 different questions. So the first one is a yes/no question. Have you worked in the USA and Europe? And the next one is, where have you worked? And now, who can make this into a sentence? I've worked in the USA and Europe. Can you make it into a sentence? Negative, sorry. Can you make it into a negative? Change it into a negative?
Yes.
How do we do that?
I haven't worked in the USA and Europe.
That's it. I haven't worked in the USA and Europe. Pretty easy, right? Nothing too complicated, because this question is just about form. It's just a form question. They want you to. And so we answered here, how do we make positive sentences, negatives, and questions? So we know how to make a positive from the examples. We made a question, 2 questions actually, and we made the negative. That's all. That's what question B wants. Okay. Now let's take a look at our next question. Look at sentences E to H. What is the difference between for and since, been and gone? This is also a nice question. You answered it already, I think, but let's take a look at it again one last time. So here they want you to tell the difference between for and since, and then the difference between been and gone, because these are the basics of present perfect. If you understand these things well, everything is clear, I think, after that. Let's start with for and since, okay? Let's talk about them first. So what's the difference really when we say for and since? Is it the same thing? Is it opposite, or how does it work? What should we put after for and what should we put?
Just the time when we start.
Okay.
But for the duration.
Specific.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. With for, we need the duration. Correct. Mm-hmm. So duration is the correct word we need here. Duration. How long? The period. Right. But with since,
we need exact time.
The starting time.
Yeah.
Or the starting year or starting time. It doesn't have to be a year, by the way. You can say or you can say
since 8 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say I've been exercising since 8 p.m. or say 8 a.m. or I've been studying since last night. It sounds a little better with years, to be honest, because maybe it's better to talk about years, but it doesn't have to be a year. So for duration, since for starting time. This is the main difference. Okay, so we covered the first half of our question. Now, the second half of the question, they want you to explain the difference between been and gone. What's the difference?
Been means to describe something. It's completed or something.
Correct.
Yeah, and gone doesn't complete it yet. My wife is gone to see some friends. She didn't return yet.
Right. She's not back yet. Correct.
Yeah.
And I've just been. Is she back or is she still in Banff?
Yeah, it's back.
No,
yes.
It's back.
Exactly. That's why for visits, if you want to talk about a country you visited for a short time, maybe you don't want to say when. Just use I've been. I've been to Istanbul twice. Or and you can even say the number of times without saying the year. So you can say I've been to Istanbul 5 times. Of course, if you're chatting with a friend or maybe someone who likes you, the first thing the friend will ask you is, what's the first thing? What's the next question?
When?
When did you go? Now, this way, he will force you to change to the past simple. You'll have to answer using went, right? You'll start saying, I went in 2010, 2013, 2015, and last year. It was amazing. We met a lot of blah, blah, blah. We went. And then everything else will be in the past simple. So this is the kind of relationship between the past simple and the present perfect. Okay, so we also answered this question correctly. Now, let's take a look at part D. This is also very useful. They want you to decide which of these words or phrases are used with the present perfect and which ones are with the past simple. What about never?
Present perfect.
Okay, let's use 2 colors. Let's use red for present perfect and blue for the past simple. You're right, Sana. Never, you can use it with the present perfect, and you can also use it with the present simple, right? I never wake up at 9 o'clock. I never drink coffee. I never whatever. I never play football. I never watch sport. So you can also use it in the present simple, but it's not our question now. So present perfect, correct. What about a go?
Past simple.
Past simple.
Right. Can we use a go with the present perfect?
No.
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 If you want to talk about time with the present perfect, you can only use since or for. You cannot use a go. Ever?
Present perfect?
Right.
Yes.
Because usually we say,
present perfect.
Have you?
I have never been there.
Yes.
Ever.
And you can say, have you ever driven a Lamborghini? Have you ever? What does it mean, by the way, ever?
Ever means?
أبدا.
Yeah.
هل رأيته من قبل يعني أو سابقا؟
ever بالمطلق يعني مرة في حياتك.
بالمطلق.
Yes, it's ever is always related to your life, in your life. Right? In your life.
Yeah.
If someone says, have you ever been to Italy? It means since you were born until today. The whole period. Do you get the idea? So have you ever, it means in your whole life. هل عمرك احنا في مدرسة مش بالليبي نقولوا هل عمرك مشيت هل عمرك شفت هذه هل عمرك شريت هل عمرك دقتها right?
Never ever.
فهي دي فكرة هل عمرك. It's the same. It's related to ever is exactly the same. It's the same idea. Okay, recently.
A present perfect.
Present
But
perfect.
yes,
Perfect.
present
Right.
perfect.
Correct. That's right. Yeah. Lately.
Also,
I think
the same meaning.
present perfect.
Recently.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little different. Okay.
Yeah.
Who can give me an example using recently? Okay, and using lately, because you answered the first part of the question correctly. Yeah. You said that we use them with the present perfect, which is correct. I'd like you to give me two examples, of course, in the present perfect, but one of them with lately and one of them with recently.
I have visited my family. Recently, I have visited my family.
I think it's better if you put it in the end, right?
Yes. Okay, I have visited my family recently.
Okay, nice. I have visited my, there's a missing I have visited my friend recently. Visited my friend recently. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. What about lately? I'll help you a bit, okay? I'm going to show you the examples in, you have here in 2B. No, I can't show you.
Maybe I've worked.
Can't show you here.
Or
Okay.
I've traveled.
I have lived in Canada lately. Not true.
Okay, I'll give you a tip. Now, with recently and lately, it talks about some kind of change from the normal. So it means things were going in a certain way, but recently and lately there's been a bit of a change. Do you get the idea? So it's like, it's a bit different from how it normally is. I'll give an example. So I've been feeling bored lately. This isn't exactly present perfect simple. It's present perfect continuous, but I can't think of another example, but let me write this one. Feeling really
I have taken a course lately.
I've taken a course lately. I don't know. It doesn't feel a little strange.
Yeah.
I've taken a course lately.
What have you been doing lately?
Yeah, how have you been doing lately?
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Sorry, again, can you repeat your example, Najat?
What have you been doing lately?
Right. This is kind of nice. What have you been doing lately?
From the another one. Have you been on a bus lately?
Have you been on a bus?
Or train?
I think maybe recently. Have you recently been on a bus? Or have you...
Isn't the same?
Not exactly the same.
But we can't use it. We can't use it. We can use it together in some examples.
Like?
Can use both.
How? Can you give me an example?
No, not exactly. I can't remember, but I heard this before. Or I do some exercise last day maybe. And they used the example we used both recently and lately, but I didn't remember it.
Have you been on a bus recently? I don't know. Recently feels a little better than lately in this example. What have you been doing recently? Here, for example, I don't think recently sounds a little strange. If I say, what have you been doing recently? What have you been doing lately feels a little better. And the bus example with recently feels better than lately. Have you been on a bus lately? Have you seen him recently?
I think recently it's more used than lately. I think. I don't know.
To be honest, I don't remember the exact rule of lately and recently. I'm just using it based on how normal and how strange it feels. But I don't think they mean the exact same thing. I don't think you can put them in the place of each other. They're not interchangeable. I don't think they're interchangeable. Maybe their meaning is slightly similar, but I don't think they're interchangeable.
But I think recently it's more popular than lately, because recently it's more you hear it a lot, but lately I don't think
you
so.
might be right. You could be right, yes. The good thing is we have a summary, so we can check exactly the story of lately and recently. But at least you answered the first part of the question, the main part, that we use it with the perfect tense. I think that's what matters. Now, what about before?
Past simple.
Right.
Past.
That's correct. In 1997?
Past simple.
Past simple.
Correct. This week?
Present perfect.
Present.
Okay. What about last week?
Past simple.
Past.
Correct. What about
just present perfect?
Present perfect.
At 10 o'clock?
Past simple. No, past simple.
Correct. Because it's a specific time.
Yes,
specific time.
We can't use the present perfect with specific times. What about yet?
Present perfect.
Correct. Present perfect. Correct.
Present perfect, yes.
Okay. So we got this question right. Now, let me take you to the summary. This way, we can also take a look at the small differences between, I don't know if they're going to mention them, but I think it's worth taking a look. But before we go there, let's take a look at the last part of the question. It says, look at this sentence. Then choose the correct verb form. So the sentence says, this is the first time we've run a hotel in a touristy place like the Lake District. So this is the phrase they're asking about. This is the first time. So it says after this is the first time, or if you say this is the second time, what should you use? Should you use the present simple or should we use the present perfect? What do you think?
Present perfect, I think.
Right. So it means if you ever use this phrase, this is the first time, or this is the second time, or this is the third time, if you use this phrase, you have to use the present perfect after it. Who can tell me why? Who can tell me why?
Because you cannot tell experience you have.
Yes, it's an experience in your life.
Yeah.
So it's like saying this is the first time ever. This is the first time ever that I've been on a plane. Or this is the first time ever Or this is the first time, for example, I've taken an English course. This is the first time I've run for elections. This is the first time I've stolen a bank. If it's your first time, of course. Anyway, so these are just examples. Now let's take a look at the summary. Maybe we can find some explanation for recently, lately, and some other expressions. So let's go there. First of all, let me return the page back to one-page display. And let's go to the summary. Page 133. What's this page? 24. 24. Okay, here we are. So, present perfect simple. So this is a quick revision of the rules. So if you want to talk about experiences that happened before now, but you don't know when, or you don't say when, present perfect simple. If you want to give more information about the experience, past simple. The second point, past simple, to say when something happened exactly. And the present perfect to say that something started in the past and is still true or continues in the present. This is present perfect. And the last one is present perfect simple for things that happened a short time ago. So this is the form. We also did this correctly, positive and negative, and we made questions. So no need to read this again. For and since, we talked about for and since. So it says, for is for the duration, which is the period. So you say how long when we use for. And since, it's a point in time when something started. We also answered this correctly, so that's good. We can move on to a tip. Okay. Okay, now I have a question. Let's take a look at this question. What's the difference? Or is it the same? Or is one of them correct?
Not the same.
I've lived in Tripoli for 20 years. I've lived at the bus and still now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I lived in Tripoli for 20 years. I'm not now in Tripoli, maybe in another place.
Yes.
Do you still live in Tripoli in the second example?
No.
Right, exactly. So it's with the past simple, it's necessary that the action is over. Whenever you use past simple, it means the action is over. It's not true anymore now. And this is exactly what this tip is saying, okay? So they're telling you, you can use for with the past simple. You can use it. Another tip, it says we don't use during with the present. Okay, so you can't use during with the present perfect. I've been here for a week. I've been here during a week. Okay, so you can't use during with the present perfect. Okay, been and gone. Okay, so you answered this correctly. So been, to go and come back. Gone, it means to go, but not back yet. Can you see this? So been, it means you go and you come back. Gone, you go, but you're not back yet. Okay, so this was correct too. Okay, now this is the segment I think we need to read in detail. All right, nice, this is good. It has all the questions all the points we need. Okay, Hajar, can you please read the first point here?
Okay. We can use these words, phrases with the present perfect simple. Never, ever, recently, lately, before, this week, just, yet, already. I have never been to Russia.
Okay. And Najat, can you read the second point, please? If you're awake, I mean.
Okay. We must use the past simple with phrases that say a definite time. 2 years ago, 1997, last week, at 10 o'clock, etc. I went there 2 years ago, not I've been there 2 years ago.
Exactly, yeah. This is kind of clear as well. Okay, Malak, what about the third point? What does it say here, the one about just?
Okay. We use just to say something happened a short time ago. We don't use just in negative sentences. Joe's just phoned. Joe just phoned? Not hasn't just phoned. We put just before the past participle.
So they're just telling you you can't use it in the negative. That's what they're saying here. Sana, what about this point, the one about yet?
If you the page up, because I have problem in my laptop. I have something so much I can't see the pages.
Okay.
If you up the page,
okay.
We use yet, yeah. Okay, now okay. We use yet to say something has not happened, but we think it will happen in the future. We don't use yet in the positive sentence. He hasn't finished it yet. Have you finished it yet? But not I have finished it yet. We put yet at the end of the sentence or clause.
Clause. Okay, so in a way, if you think of it, just and yet are a bit like opposites. Because just, you can use it for questions and you can use it for positives, but you can't use it for negatives. Yet is the opposite. You can use it for questions and you can use it for negatives, but you can't use it for positives. So the meaning, of course, is not the same, not opposite. They're not related in meaning, but the way they're used grammatically, think of them as opposites. So if this will help you remember them. Already, okay, already. We use it a lot in Libya, I think, the word already. Ihab, are you there? Ihab, you're quiet. I think he's asleep. Okay, let's, okay, Hajar, can you please read the point about already? Let's see if there's anything new here.
We use already to say something happened sometime in the past, maybe sooner than we expect. We don't use already in negative sentence. We have already seen it. Have you already seen it? But not I haven't already seen it. We put already before the past participle.
Yeah, so I think the only point we need to take from this is you can't use it in negatives, and the general meaning is something that happened sooner than expected. Yeah. So for example, let's say maybe the teacher gave you a difficult exam and you finished it really quickly, and maybe the teacher will be a little surprised. He'll say, have you already finished? So he wasn't expecting you to finish this fast. So you can use already in this way. We've already seen it. Okay, now recently and lately, they didn't give us a lot of information about it, but they're using them in the same way, right? I haven't, so this is exactly what Hajar said. So I haven't, I haven't
it's
been
like
to,
the same.
They're using it in the same way, you remember, as you remember. So I haven't been to London recently. I haven't been to London lately. Okay, now what's the difference between I haven't been to London recently or lately and I haven't been to London?
I haven't been to London for never, ever.
Okay.
But recently, for 2 years ago or something like that, or this year, for a
Good
period
point.
of time, I think.
Okay, so let's write both of these. Oops, I want the white color. Let's put them here. So I haven't, for example, I haven't studied English. And I haven't studied English lately or recently. Now, according to what you said, Hajar, you're saying that the first one, you've never studied in English. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And the second one?
Second one means for maybe this month or this year, I haven't studied English recently.
What do you think, Najat, about these two examples?
I think the same meaning.
Do you think?
Either lately or recently.
Yeah, I'm using them in the same way.
Not as the rule mentioned, not long ago. في الفترة القريبة الأخيرة.
Okay, but when someone says, for example, I haven't studied English recently or lately, is this a change in his habits or in his routine? Or is this how the situation normally is?
Yes, there is a thing.
Okay, I'll ask it in another way. So the person in the second example, does he usually study English?
Yeah, he studied English, but recently, maybe 2 months or 3 months, he didn't study.
Maybe he had a problem or something.
That's it. Exactly, that's the point. So my point is, whenever you see lately and recently, the person speaking is showing you a change in routine.
It didn't happen, yeah, okay.
Some kind of change. So like the example with London in the book, I haven't been to London recently, or I haven't been to London lately. The person is, in a way, is saying indirectly that he usually goes to London. But recently or lately, there's been a change. For some reason, he hasn't been to London. The same thing here. I haven't studied English recently. This is a student who normally studies English, but lately he hasn't. So it's a bit like this. It's a bit of a change in recent behavior. That's why Najat's question, when he said, how have you been doing recently? So it means we want to see if there are any changes, or if we want to see if there are any changes from the last time I saw you, right? So how's it been going recently? How have things been going, for example? Or how have you been doing lately? Or how have you been doing recently? You get the idea? So yes. This is recently and lately. The last one, the last phrase is, this is the first time, this is the second time. Okay, this is clear, we talked about it. Okay. Another question. I like trick questions. Okay, let's put this question. Okay, so now let's say What's the difference? Malak, are you there?
Have you seen Ahmed? Means it's. Did you see Ahmed today? Maybe.
Maybe the question
What about the question?
I want to say maybe the question. The first question is about something about yesterday, but I see the word today.
I think no difference. That's it.
You think no difference? Okay, Najat thinks no difference. Sana, do you agree with her? Do you think there is no difference between these two questions?
I don't know.
واحدة grammatically واحدة.
Have you seen Ahmed today? Maybe. How we can say it? You still have a chance to see it or something.
Okay, you're getting close.
Did you see Ahmed? But you see Ahmed today. It maybe we are now at the night, and so you can't see Ahmed. I can't explain it exactly, but
Okay, you're kind of right. If you, in the first example, did you see Ahmed today? The reason we use the past simple here, did you see, and not have you seen? We finished the day.
Maybe you see Ahmed at the work or something, and you came back, so the other person told
why you
asking
use
you,
today with the
did you
past simple?
see?
Good question. Today you can do this. Yeah. Now this is the trick with expressions like today, or for example, let's say, did you? For example, did you? Let's use another slightly different example. Let me see if it makes sense or not.
Yeah, now it's more easier than
today.
Yeah, because the first one, did you clean the car this afternoon? Means that now we are at night, maybe.
I know the answer, I think.
But have you cleaned the car this afternoon? Means we are still at the afternoon.
Right.
We can, but we're still at the afternoon. We are not at night or something.
Yes, the time period is not over yet.
Yeah,
we're still in the afternoon.
Exactly.
Correct.
But at the first examples, I can't explain it. It's more tricky.
The one about, okay, I'll help you, because here,
today.
Think of today as work day, not like 24-hour day. Think of it like work day. So
yeah, so what I said, it's true.
yeah,
So it's
actually,
true. Yeah.
the same way you analyze the second example, it's the same idea with the first one. So in the first example, did you see Ahmed today? So here it means maybe these two friends, they are co-workers, they work together. And Ahmed is their colleague, right? So now they're meeting in the cafe at night, they're having a cup of coffee, a few cigarettes, having fun, and they just remembered Ahmed. So he asked his friend, he said, did you see Ahmed today? Because they finished their work day. So when we say today, they mean it like their work day from 8 to 5 or something, right? And now it's 10 o'clock, for example. This is what we mean by today. But have you seen Ahmed today? They're still in the office. They haven't finished the day. Do you get the idea? So it's the same, Hajar. Exactly what you said about this afternoon. It's the same for today. Maybe today is not very common. We don't use it as much as this morning, this afternoon, this evening, and in this way. And here, if you check the explanation that the book has, it says here, we also use present perfect with this week or this year, this month, this morning, this afternoon, if it's still the same time of the day. So have you seen Bob this morning? So it's still morning. Did you see Bob this morning? So it means the morning has passed away. You can do this with year, you can do this with month. So if you use the past simple with this year, if I tell you, did anything interesting happen this year to you? Actually, because we're in December, it's a lot better to use the past simple now. If I want to ask you anything about 2020, it makes more sense to use the past simple. So I can ask you, did you get any new jobs this year? Did you travel this year? I'm using it in the past tense because we're at the end of it. We're almost, I know we haven't finished in 2020, but how many days have we got left? 15 days? Do you get the idea? So I can use the past simple. It makes more sense. But if you're in the beginning of the year, or maybe in the middle, maybe it's a little better if you use the present perfect. So so this is a
Doctor,
yeah. Najat? Yes, you have a question? I think you disconnected, Najat, maybe. Okay, let me take you back to the exercise. Oops, 24. Did you have a question, Najat? Because I can't hear you. All right, so now it says here, listen and practice, copy the stress. Okay, I think we can skip this. Let's do this one. It says here, listen to how we say these phrases. Notice the difference. Okay, so what we want to do here, let me put them in a box for you, because we will need to write them after we listen. So it says here, listen to how we say these phrases, notice the difference. So first of all, we're just gonna listen to present perfect versus past simple. So I've met, I met, you've had, you had. So we want to get a feel for them. And then after that, we have another question.
I've worked in the USA and in Europe.
Oops, it's this. Yeah, this one.
1.
I've met. I met.
2.
You've had. You had.
3.
We've won. We won.
4.
They've told. They told.
5.
He's wanted. He wanted.
6.
She's lived. She lived.
Okay, Najat, can you hear me?
Connection. I didn't hear your explanation about two examples.
About the one about this morning and this evening and this afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. So the idea is basically, if I say, for example, I saw Ahmed this morning, and I saw Ahmed this morning, and I've seen Ahmed this morning. Or for example, I've seen Ahmed. I've seen Ahmed. This morning. Maybe in a question it's a little better. But the difference between these examples, or if we put them in a question, maybe it's a little better. Did you see Ahmed this afternoon? Or have you seen Ahmed this afternoon? So in the first example, Najat, the one with the past simple, it means that this time window or this period of time is over. When you say, I saw Ahmed this morning, you're talking to your friend and it's not the morning anymore. It's the afternoon or it's the evening. Do you get the idea? That's why you use the past tense, because the morning is done, it's finished, it's over. But if you say I've seen Ahmed this morning, maybe you're looking for Ahmed and you're thinking to yourself, where is he? I've seen him this morning. So you're still in the morning. To be honest, the second example, I don't know, it feels a little weird. Maybe it's better as a question and a yes/no answer. Maybe it's a lot better. Like, have you seen Ahmed this afternoon? So it's still the afternoon. The afternoon is not over yet. It's still 4 o'clock now. Because it's still 4 o'clock, you can use the present perfect. You're still in the same time frame. But the first one, did you see Ahmed this afternoon? It means you're talking about something that passed. There's no chance to see him anyways. So you get the idea?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this was the only point here. Okay, now who can tell me what's the point of exercise 5? Why are they doing this? Why do they want you to tell the difference between I've met, I met? I mean, it's clear, right? One of them has have and the other one doesn't. Why is it important? Why do we have it as an exercise like this? It sounds a bit stupid, right? There must be a reason. What do you think the reason is? Why do we have it like this? Who can guess?
Maybe the word, how we can pronounce it.
Good answer. Yes, but not quite. I don't know if you've noticed, but all of them are contracted, right? Or all of them are in the short form.
Oh,
Yeah.
sound, to hear the sound differences.
Yeah, because the have, first of all, it's not a full form. It's not a strong form. So you'll never hear have. You'll always hear I've met. And because we're using the short form I've, this means it's not stressed, right? So if you're not paying attention, maybe you can't tell the difference if the person said, I've met or I met, because it's very light. I've met, I've met, right? So they just want you to pay attention that the difference is not so big in pronunciation because the V and the S are not stressed. Now we're gonna listen to 6 exercises, 6 sentences, sorry, 6 sentences. But you have to decide is the verb in the present perfect or is the verb in the past simple? So I'm going to play the 6 examples. I'll play them twice, but let's see how many you get right from the first time, okay? So 6 examples. You have to tell me, did they use the present perfect or did they use the past simple? So this is your job now. Let's listen.
1. They lived in Egypt for 10 years. 2. We've opened a restaurant. 3. I've decided to stay here. 4. You lost a lot of money. 5. She's visited a lot of interesting places. 6. He phoned all his friends.
Okay. I don't know if you have a pen and paper with you. Do you? Because this one I think needs writing. It's a little too hard. Maybe I should have told you that you need to write them. Okay, let's see your guesses before I repeat them. Let's see. The first one, number 1. What did you hear? Was it past simple or was it present perfect?
Present perfect.
Okay. Do you agree with Sana? What about you, Malak and Najat and Haji? What did you hear?
We've lived here, I think.
That's the second. That's the second one. I think we've lived. Or was it the first one?
The first one, I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear the first one?
Yeah.
Because he said it so quickly, there's no way to hear it. Okay.
No, because I didn't pay attention.
All right, no problem. But you're right, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you used to native speech patterns.
Yeah.
Native stress, native intonation. You know, they're trying to get you used to language which is different from a teacher's way. Because teacher's English is not real English, of course. It's just for lessons, but in real English is a little different.
Yes.
Okay, so let me repeat it again, and this time maybe I'm going to pause after each sentence, okay? So I can give you a chance to think of it. So yeah, let's do it and let's pause after each one. So here we go. Okay. Oops. Let's remove this. Okay. All right, are you ready? Let's listen again.
Track 22. 1. They lived in Egypt for 10 years.
2. I think past simple.
Who agrees?
No, present perfect. Present 14 years. They've lived in Egypt for 10 years.
But you can use for even in the past simple.
Yes, but I don't know.
Let's listen once again, okay?
Track 22. 1. They lived in Egypt for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a past simple. They lived.
Okay.
They have lived.
Okay, so Hajar thinks it's the past simple. So let's write the first one. Let's make a little list. So the first one is, I'm just writing your answers. I'm not saying it's right or not. So the first one, you think it's past simple. Okay, so let's see the second one.
I still not agree. I don't know.
You don't agree? You think, okay.
Yeah, so they've lived for 10 years in Egypt for, I don't know.
Okay, let's listen to number 2.
Okay.
2. We've opened a restaurant.
Present perfect.
Opened restaurant.
We have
Is it present perfect?
Present
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
present perfect.
And let's listen to number 3.
Three. I've decided to stay here.
Present perfect.
Present perfect.
Present perfect. I've decided.
Yeah.
Okay.
Four. You lost a lot of money.
Past
Past simple.
Past simple.
Okay.
You
He
lost money.
Five. She's visited a lot of interesting places.
Present perfect.
Present perfect.
She's
Positive.
Okay. And the last one, let's hear it again.
Six. He phoned all his friends.
Past simple.
Past simple.
Okay.
Mm.
So past simple. All right, let me take you to the script so we can confirm your answers. So this is track 22, CD1, track 22. Let's take a look. So this is track 3, track 10, track 16, 17, 18, 20, 20. Here it is. Ah, this is CD2. Oops. One CD1. Here it is. Let's zoom in. Can you see the left side?
Yeah.
Can you see your answers in red?
Yeah.
So the first one, they lived. So Sana, you need to buy chocolates for the group.
okay.
Okay, so the first one, past simple. The second one, we've opened, you said present perfect, so that's also correct. The third one, I've decided to stay here, you said present perfect, which is correct. You lost a lot of money, past simple, right? She's visited, present perfect. And the last one, he phoned, past simple. So all of your answers are correct. That's excellent, I think that's great. All right.
Okay, I want to tell you something.
Sure.
Today I just downloaded the app.
Which app?
They called
Duolingo?
One analyst or something like that. I didn't know how to pronounce it exactly.
Okay.
But it's like a game. They give you a small description from screen from film or something. And you can hear it from in a fast way, or you can be more slow. You can be more slow.
You can slow it down.
Yeah, and you have options to choose what you hear. It's nice. But
if you could get the spelling, the exact spelling, and you can even send it to me on Messenger, that would be great. I always recommend, by the way, using apps with courses, using movies. You need to supplement the course. Never depend on the teacher. Teachers are unreliable. Never depend only on a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is true advice.
Yeah, it's I think it's a great. I just do a little bit on it. It's great.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, and when you choose the correct answer. They شو نقول لك يطلع لك هيك how he pronounced.
I think
It's W-A.
Just a second.
Okay.
Is it called Elsa Speak?
No.
Okay, so that's another one. But that one is also, I think, similar to what you're talking about. It's called Elsa Speak. But can you give me the spelling? So
Okay.
maybe your classmates can also check it.
Yes.
W?
W-A. N. N. A.
Okay.
L. I. S. N.
Wanna listen?
Wanna listen, yeah.
It's a weird word.
Yeah.
It's not an English word. Wanna listen. Maybe it's like wanna listen.
Like
listen from listening.
It's
maybe this.
I found it from ad from the game. I play a game, so he came me as an ad. So
So you checked it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Find this.
There's also Elsa Speak. Check this also. It's
Doctor,
good. Yes.
I want to add some.
And this one I've used in Duolingo before. It's also nice. Yeah, Najat, what do you want to add?
I want to add some تنبيه بالنسبة للnative about great. Don't pronounce T. Great.
You don't pronounce the T. Great.
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Maybe it's a bit light. Great.
Yeah, it's light.
Great.
Yes.
But I think there is also, by the way, the word native is a very, I'll give you an example, okay? Let me show you.
It's a different accents or dialects. It's like an Arabic.
Yeah, but let me give you an extreme example, okay? Just to show you what the word native means. Okay. Remember, this is an extreme example, but I think you'll get my point. Okay. Can you still see the book?
No.
No.
YouTube, no.
YouTube, exactly. Okay, good. This is what I want.
Hello and welcome to another in this accent series. Today we're doing the video you've all requested. That's right, we're going up north to Scotland. But who exactly are we meeting today? This is Stephen.
Okay, so let me just give it a chance to load. Do you know the city of Glasgow? Does anybody know Glasgow? Or anybody heard of Glasgow?
Yes.
Yes, it's actually the second or third largest city in the UK. It's a very big city in Scotland. It's called Glasgow. I think lots of Libyans live in Glasgow. But they have an amazing dialect or accent. Listen to this.
Stephen's from Glasgow. That means he is a Glaswegian.
All right, Anna, how's it going?
So before we start looking at the Glaswegian accent, I just want to ask, Stephen, what are you wearing?
Well, Anna, I'm wearing the traditional Scottish outfit of a kilt.
Right.
That consists of kilt here, the sporran, Bonnie Prince Charlie jacket, and then I've got some flashes just on my socks here.
Oh, careful. Can I just ask before you do that, Are you a true Scotsman?
Of course I'm a true Scotsman, Anna.
Right, well maybe you should tell our viewers what that means to be a true Scotsman.
To be a true Scotsman, it means you've not got any underwear on underneath your kilt.
Right, and so you're not wearing any underwear?
No.
Good to know. Okay, well let's keep those legs firmly on the floor and standing up straight. So, the Glaswegian accent. First of all, let's look at the individual sounds that may be different between a Glaswegian accent and a standard British English accent. The first sound is the short vowel I.
Is it clear or is it choppy? Can you hear it clearly?
Yeah.
Because, okay, so they're going to talk about a few differences now.
I would say I, but Stephen would say
I.
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 So, for example, in words such as in.
In.
In. I'm in love.
I'm in love.
Winner.
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 He's a winner.
He's a winner.
Big.
Big.
Okay, these are still small examples. I'm looking for something, and maybe this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a more because I once saw a film in this accent, and I had to download the subtitles. Okay, let's see. I don't know if this is a good example or not.
Managing your projects should feel more like this. That's why you need ClickUp. With ClickUp, when you want to assign a task...
Kevin, what's your last name? What's your name?
My name's Kevin Patterson, and I'm a...
Okay, the internet is being a little...
guide on the River Tweed, like. We're standing here down in the Borders. We're just outside Melrose, which is a famous town. Over the back of us here, we've got the Eildons, one of the most famous landmarks on the Borders. It's 3 hills, and the myth is that Merlin, the magician, split one hill into 3. The 2 hills at the back of us, which you can see. The weather's never good. They always say in the Borders, if the mist's on the Eildons, we never get the good weather. And as you can see today, there's no sunshine. It's a typical Scottish Borders day.
Fantastic. Yeah, tell me a bit about Tweed Guide, about what you.
It's weird.
But this is native. This is kind of a native accent, and there are other ones which are even worse, of course. So here, the problem with native, we're always used to what we call received pronunciation or BBC English. But this is what we're used to when we say native British. But it's very different. People from Manchester speak very differently from people in Liverpool, and people in in Birmingham. They speak differently from people in Glasgow. So the word native is a little. I think it's a little broad. It's a bit too broad.
It's like when you said I'm a Libyan native. We speak Libyan native or something like that. But there's a lot of accents. There's a lot of tips. You know that this man from this city or something.
Yeah, because if you think of it, even a small distance, like for example from Tripoli to Janzor or Tripoli to Zawiya, people speak slightly differently.
Yeah,
and this is very close. We're not even talking about, for example, Musrata or Benghazi or other cities around the country. Just small differences in distance make small.
But they are still a native
Libyan.
Native Libyan.
All of them are native Libyans.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the word native, I think it's in my opinion, you shouldn't worry too much about your own accent, because even in formal exams, even in formal exams like IELTS, they don't expect you to have a British accent or an Irish or an American. Yeah, what they're looking for is clarity. How clear is your pronunciation? They care a little more about, I think, intonation. If your intonation sounds native-like, that's a good thing. If your intonation sounds normal in the flow of your words, the way you pronounce you know, vowels, consonants, the way you say words, your syllable stress is very important. So I think these things will probably get you a high score in speaking in the pronunciation criteria, because for
Yes,
example,
because the mother tongue is it's the control of our
pronunciation.
I forget the word, but in a vocal tract there's something maybe blocked because we didn't use for a while, because we didn't use this word for your mother tongue, or that's why.
you're right, and this is exactly what happens to people learning Arabic when they're adults.
Yeah.
They can't say ha, they can't say ah, they can't say gha, right? Because we've been saying these letters since we were kids because of our parents.
Yeah.
But a non-native, when they learn these things, you know, it's not easy. There's lots of work, and for us it's just the same when we're learning English.
It's also for our English.
Yeah, we have the same problem. Exactly right. But I highly recommend, just for fun, take a look at the strangest native accents. Take a look at the differences between, for example, Irish, Scottish, Australian, New Zealand English, South African English, Nigerian English. The USA has almost like 6 or 7 different dialects. People in New York, they speak very differently from people in, for example, in Texas or Alabama, or people in California. You know, there are different, Canada, the Canadians also have specific things in their pronunciation. They don't say about, they say about. So they don't pronounce, they're famous for this, the Canadians. Usually if you pay attention, they always say, about what are you talking about? About. So they say about. They pronounce it a little strange. They use eh. They use this phrase a lot. So each country has, you know, a specific thing they do. So it's a fun thing. It's fun, especially that now you're intermediate, so your understanding is quite good. My advice would be to check these things for fun. I think it's good. Okay, so this means we only have this one left. We can do this hopefully on Monday. I strongly advise you to work a little bit on the workbook, because there are a few new things we learned today. So maybe if you put all of this to work in your workbook, and if you get the chance to do it, this of course will help you a lot. And in our next lesson, we will continue talking about tourism, and we'll talk about Lonely Planet. This is a very famous magazine, I think, and company. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for your time. I'll see you again on Monday, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye.